Well, watch out, Cory. It's a long way down. Well, Cory, we're back again, and this week we checked out a game for early access, A Long Way Down. Now, I'm not really familiar with this kind of game. What was your take on this?
You know what? This one is like a few different genres kind of meshed together, right? We've got a deck building game, a dungeon crawler RPG, and a roguelite. So we've got these three different styles of games. We've all kind of played these types of games, maybe not together like this. But it's a kind of an interesting one. We start off, our character Sam. He is in the afterlife now, or at least on his way to the afterlife, and finds himself kind of in this limbo. And he has to go through these dungeons. And essentially, the dungeons are kind of like a grid-based, layout. But you're also part of building the layout each turn. It's a very interesting style of game. There's a lot of mechanics at play here.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how there's the actual fight, but then in between fights, they made a game out of that with tile pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not such a fan of the way you move around. I feel like it kind of breaks up the pacing of it. And for the kind of a story-driven game, I'm glad you picked up on it because the details were kind of lost to me, unfortunately.
It's one of those things where because they're trying to do a few different things all at once. I thought you start to lose some of the good aspects of each genre, right? I mean, we're doing this dungeon crawler, but it's basically just a pick and place. Piece by piece, it's there's three players in the turn: us, the monsters we're trying to defeat, or the monsters that are trying to get us, and the dungeon master. And the dungeon master, when his turn comes around, he basically just takes a piece that you currently own and he uses it against you, whether it's to create paths for monsters to come and get you or just stop you from getting to where you're trying to go. So there are some interesting aspects to this game when you get into actually how the turns go. So for me, I really enjoyed the fact that there's a lot of different things to kind of learn in this game. But because there's a few different things together, it wasn't overly difficult. The card building, I find a lot of card building games to be, you have to invest. There's a lot of things to, know about certain cards, do a lot of reading to try to build these decks to fit the style of play you currently have. This game's no different, but it's definitely on a way more simplified level, I think.
Yeah, actually, you nailed that because I think there's more kind of maneuvers that go off in other games. Or Hearthstone comes to mind. There's other similar ones. Like Slay the Spire is one that is probably the closest that models this, but the card styles and the way the game plays, it doesn't allow you to really customize as much as I thought it would off the start. I'm kind of just grabbing scrap cards, putting whatever I can together.
Whatever you can, yeah.
Yeah, and mismatched armor and such. And the armor, I think, was just kind of like a weird extra system.
Yeah.
I didn't really add too much value. If anything, it kind of made me have the same spells, the same attacks over and over.
Yeah, it kind of makes you feel like it is a bit of a redundancy to it, other than the fact that you can use the armor pieces that you pick up for the companions that you do end up finding along the way in this. So there, it's okay. The mechanics, all right, I understand it, but I don't know if it was necessarily needed because I kind of feel like, I'm building my decks. I'm trying to navigate my way through these dungeons, which, at first the tutorial was pretty easy. The first couple levels after that were pretty smooth. The difficulty starts to build, but so do you and your skills and your deck. But then I realized when you got to a certain point, the difficulty level ramped up like significantly. And I had a tough, I was repeating the same level over and over and over, and I'm still stuck on said level and I'm having a difficult time getting past it. And I just don't quite understand why it was so much easier now. And I'm wondering, should I be grinding more in the earlier levels to try to, get a better deck and move on? So I was trying that and I get, a little bit farther, but still not far enough. And it's just like, I don't know. It was frustrating to me when I got to that point in this game.
Yeah, some of the enemies, they play their character out really well. They use all their abilities properly and they really stay alive really long.
Oh, I know.
That reason. So but I couldn't find myself with the same kind of fine tuning. I couldn't get my damaging play out quick enough to keep up with their super defensive play. So I don't know if there's some balancing that needs to happen.
Again, this is an early release game. I think I don't know if we got out there and said that at the beginning, but this is definitely an early release game. There's a lot to be kind of had here, and additions made. Like you said, the balancing definitely could change the way this game plays significantly. And I think there's a lot of people that are going to be really interested in this style of game because it is unique for the genres that it fits into, I think.
Yeah, and the roguelike, I want to touch on that again. Just there is a grind to this game,
Yeah.
and I feel like that wasn't really explained, at least to me, the first time going through. I wasn't really sure that I was supposed to be playing it like a roguelike, where I just cut out of the level early, hit the portal, and go home with all your equipment that you collected.
Exactly. Yeah.
Once I realized that, the difficulty definitely dropped a little bit more, but the story wasn't enticing enough for me to have picked that up on my own. So
no, it's kind of a
a bit of a mixed bag
here. Yeah, I mean it's a $20 game upon full release. It's going to be $20, so it's not, we're not talking about an $80-$90 game here. So you do, your expectations aren't going to be through the roof. But again, this game touches all the bases I think it's supposed to. So I think we should probably score this one, Scott. So if you got a score a long way down, what are you going to give it?
Well, I had a mixed experience with this game, but I do see the merit in it. It's not my genres, but I can see how they've picked little pieces. And if you're a fan of Slay the Spire, anything like that, I definitely would recommend this to you.
Yeah, you know what? I'm right there with you because I think it's, unique enough in its own right that people should check this game out because it took me by surprise. Never heard of it. And I did enjoy the time I had with it, other than, like you said, maybe some balancing issues. So, you know what? I'm definitely going to have to recommend this one as well because I think people should check it out. A Long Way Down takes elements from 3 genres and combines them pretty well, but there are some balancing issues that can make sticking with this one tough.
You watched that video. If you want to see more like it, check out our channel. Subscribe.